Some people will look at where you are today and use it to define you forever. They will see your struggle, your broken things, your empty pockets, and they will decide that is all you will ever be. But what they cannot see is what is burning inside you. This is the story of a boy named Zain and how the world's cruelty became his greatest fuel. Zain grew up in a small apartment with thin walls and thinner meals. His father worked as a janitor. His mother cleaned offices at night. They gave him everything they had, which was never quite enough. At school, Zain stood out, but not in the way any child wants to. His uniform was always slightly faded. His shoes had a crack along the left sole that he covered with black marker every single morning. He carried a bag held together by a safety pin, and the other students noticed. They always notice. One afternoon during lunch, a group of boys pointed at his shoes and laughed, not quietly, loudly, publicly, deliberately. Zain sat alone at his table, head down, pretending not to hear, but he heard every word. That night, lying on his mattress in the dark, he made himself a promise, not a wish, not a dream, a promise. One day, I will make something of myself, not to prove them wrong, but to prove myself right. School was not easy for Zain. He had no tutors, no extra classes, no one to help him with homework after dinner. His parents came home exhausted every single night, so Zain taught himself. He borrowed books from the school library and read them by the light of a small lamp after midnight. When he did not understand something, he read it again and again until he did. He had no calculator, so he practiced mathematics by hand until his fingers cramped, while other students spent weekends at malls and parties. Zain spent his studying at a small corner of the kitchen table. He never complained about what he did not have. He only focused on what he could build with what he did have. His teachers noticed his quiet determination. One teacher, an elderly woman named Miss Hannah, stayed after class one afternoon. She placed a thick book on his desk and said simply, "You have something most students with everything do not have. Hunger. Do not ever let it go." Zain never forgot those words. He graduated top of his class, without tutors, without resources, without anyone handing him anything. Just discipline, just hunger, just that quiet, unbreakable promise he made to himself on a dark night years ago. He earned a full scholarship to university, the first person in his entire family to ever step onto a university campus. His mother cried at the gate. His father stood silently beside her, shoulders straight, eyes wet, too proud to speak. University was another battle. Students around him came from wealthy families, laptops and cars and allowances. Zain had a second-hand notebook and a phone with a cracked screen. But he had learned something poverty had taught him that money never could. How to be resourceful, how to be patient, how to turn obstacles into fuel. He studied harder than anyone around him. He took on part-time work to cover his expenses, working weekends and late evenings, but he never stopped moving forward, not even once. After university, Zain started a small business from his tiny apartment. No office, no team, no investors, just a laptop, a dream, and years of stored hunger. The first year was brutal. Rejections, empty months, self-doubt that crept in at 3 a.m. when everything felt impossible. But every time he wanted to quit, he remembered those boys laughing at his shoes. He remembered his mother coming home with tired feet and a warm smile. He remembered his father, silent and proud at the university gate, and he kept going. Year by year, the business grew, slowly at first, then faster, then unstoppable. 5 years after graduating, Zain's company had over 50 employees. 7 years in, he was recognised as one of the most promising young entrepreneurs in the country. And on the morning of his 10-year anniversary in business, Zain purchased the building where he once worked a part-time cleaning job to pay his university fees. The same building. He stood in the lobby that morning, alone for a moment, and looked down at his shoes. Polished, perfect, expensive. He smiled quietly to himself, not because of the money, not because of the success, but because that boy with the cracked shoes and the safety pin bag had kept his promise. Listen to me now. Someone in your life has already decided your ceiling. They looked at your circumstances, your background, your struggles, and they made a quiet judgment about how far you will go. They are wrong. Your beginning does not determine your ending. The size of your dream is not limited by the size of your bank account. The most dangerous person in any room is the one who has been underestimated their entire life and knows it. Be that person. Work when no one is watching. Study when everyone else is sleeping. Keep going when every reason to stop seems louder than every reason to continue. Because one day, and that day will come, the same world that doubted, you will want to know your story. Make sure it is worth telling. If this story lit something inside you today, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And if you are in the middle of your struggle right now, do not quit. You are closer than you think. Subscribe to this channel for more stories that will push you forward. A new story is coming very soon. Until then, keep going, keep believing, keep building, because everything you are working for is already on its way.